Hey guys, today I'm doing strawberry jam. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need your lids and rings, paper towel, vinegar, funnel, ladle, jar lifters, something just to scrape the pot with, stir sticks, make sure they're wooden, not metallic, a pot of hot water, not boiling, for your lids and rings, something to protect your table with, and something to protect your hands with, because we are going to be canning today. It gets very, very hot and those jars get very hot. Just a quick tip on your lids. When you're putting them in hot water, they tend to stick together. They're very hard to come out, and they come out at 2 at a time, sometimes 3 at a time. But if you put them in opposite of each other, so I always remember it this way when I'm doing things really quick because I make big batches. That will be gold, that will be red, that will be gold, that will be red, and so forth. And when you take them out, they're not going to stick. Very simple, very quick. My jars have been really washed thoroughly. They went into the sanitized cycle through the dishwasher, and then I have placed them in this water bath canner just to keep them warm and make sure that they're nice and hot when I put the jam in. The first thing you need is your berries. They need to be washed, gone through, and make sure there's none that's spoiled. Take the tops off, and that's all you have to do to prepare them. Then I like to put them in a flat bottom surface because I need 5 cups of crushed strawberries. So I just take my potato masher and mash them down. And then I'll transfer them to the measure cup until I get 5 cups. So when I'm done with all of these, I'll come back. I have my crushed strawberries here, 5 cups. I have a very heavy bottom pot to do this in. So I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of lemon juice in there. I'm breaking my own rule here by doing this over the strawberries and not the sink, because if you miss, you can't take it out. So there's my 4. And then what you're going to need is a package of pectin. Powdered pectin. This is what I use. I love this kind. The whole package goes in. We're going to give it a stir. Make sure it's dissolved. And then we're going to take this over to the stove and put it on high and bring it up to a boil. So I'll meet you there. I have this on high heat, and I want to bring this up to a really hard boil. So it'll take maybe 2 minutes. So when it's at a hard boil, I'll come back. Okay, this is the boil that we want, a really hard boil. And when you stir it, it really doesn't go down all that much. It just pops right back up to a boil. That's what we want. Now we can add our sugar. And I'm also going to add a little bit, just maybe a half a teaspoon of butter, cut down on the foaming, and I'm going to dump my sugar in. Put it all in at once and keep stirring. You don't want to leave this at this point. You want all that sugar to dissolve, and you want to bring it up to a boil, a very hard boil, not a soft boil, a hard boil, and then we'll start timing it for 1 minute when it gets back up to that boil. So I'll come back when that happens. This is the kind of boil that you want. You want it to really rapid boil, and when you stir it, it doesn't stop the boil. And at this point, you want to time it for 1 minute, but keep stirring. It's really important that you keep stirring this. So after the 1 minute timer, I'm going to take it right off the heat and put it over on the counter. Okay, it's off the stove, and I'm going to skim the top of this. It's very light pink. It's a foamy consistency, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can out of here. I got as much off as I can. So I want to show you another jam jar that I have that I didn't get enough out, and this is what happens. It's not going to hurt you, but for gifting it kind of looks a little funky. So I try to get off as much as I can when I'm doing this. So I'm going to put this over on my workstation and I'll meet you there. When I take my jars out of the canner, I just take my jar lifter and dump the water out and then put the jar right on my workstation. Time to fill the jars. I let these cool just slightly, but they're not cold by any means. I'm just going to stir this around and just start spooning it into my jam jars. Now I'm going to bring this up to a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch. I usually go 1/4 inch with this. We'll have to see a little bit more. There we go. And you just keep repeating this process until you get your jam jars filled. And hopefully you don't use any kind of tea towels or anything that you don't mind getting red on it, because this will stain. So make sure that you're not using anything that can't handle a stain. So I'll just do 3. I won't bore you with the rest. And then what you want to do is take your stir stick and go around and debubble. I know it's liquidy, but you still have to do this. And make sure that all of the air bubbles are out of there. And I'm going to put in a little bit more in that one. Just a little bit. Then I'm going to take my paper towel and dab it in my vinegar. I always use vinegar on everything that I can. Yikes, that's hot. And make sure it's all nice and clean. Your lids will not seal if it's not nice and clean. And then you're going to get your lids and you're going to put them on. Take your bands and finger firm. First resistance and then another tight squeeze. You don't want to put them on super loose, but you don't want to crank them down to the point of no return either. As you keep jamming, as you keep canning, you'll get the hang of that if you're new to canning. And another one. Whoopsie. And I'll keep, yikes, that's hot. And I'll keep doing this, and then I'll put them in the canner, and then I'll come back. Sorry for the noise, but it's going up to boil. I wanted to show you quickly that you should have at least 1 inch of water over top of your jam jars. And on the bottom of my canner, it did come with a rack that you pull up and all that kind of stuff. But I use my pressure canner rack for the bottom of this. I find it's much easier. The jars don't fuddle around as much, and it's just more convenient, and it's a breeze to work with. So I just kind of toss the other rack in storage because this is just so much better for me. So I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to bring it up to a really hard boil. At that time, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is at a very rapid boil. So I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. And then after that, I'll take it off the burner. 10 minutes is up. So I took it right off the burner. I took the lid off right away, and I have my timer set for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'm going to remove them from the canner. These are out of the canner. I'm going to leave them on the counter for 24 hours. I'm not going to touch them, move them. I'm not going to do anything with them. This is all I do when I wash my jars. Take the rings off, get a little bit of soap on my cloth, make sure everything's off the sides, and run them under clear water. that's it. These turned out really well. I got 9 mason jars out of this, 250 milliliter. The only one that I couldn't fill was this one. It's just a little bit shy of being full, but I processed it anyway. Normally what I do with mason jars is either write the date on the top or put labels on the sides. But with preserves, jams, things like that, I know I'm going to be giving a lot away. I know it's just going to be like a grab and run. It usually is all summer long. Here, take this, that kind of thing. So I just print off what they are, put an elastic band around them, put the date behind it, and just put it like this. And that way, when you're gifting or you're giving something to somebody, they don't have my sloppy writing all over the top and so forth and so on. With meats and things like that, I'll just go ahead and do the tops. But with jams and preserves, yeah, I'd rather it be a clean jar, so I just do it this way. If you do this, I can guarantee you, you are going to love it. You will probably stop buying things at the grocery store as much as you can because it's really that good. Till next time, hey dough.